Historically, the Northwest Passage linking the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans is icebound throughout the year. But the Arctic ice is melting, meaning that ships can navigate it for the first time. Here's another chance to see David Shookman's remarkable journey on a Canadian icebreaker.
For just one time, I would take the Northwest Passage to find...
This is the story of our journey right through the Arctic. For hundreds of years, this maze of icy channels was impassable. But this treacherous, forbidding world is now opening up. There's a struggle for control of this polar land and of the route that runs through it, the famous Northwest Passage.
And make a Northwest Passage to the sea.
The Arctic winter is approaching. This is what's called grease ice, the first sign of the big freeze to come. But look further out and the waters are still clear. The melting in the summertime here broke all records, leaving this potentially vital waterway wide open.
This is the so-called Northwest Passage, which for centuries was a kind of holy grail for explorers, connecting the Atlantic with the Pacific, and now for the first time this summer declared entirely free of ice, changing the Arctic map and coming far sooner than experts had predicted.
Satellite pictures record how the Arctic ice began its usual retreat back in June, and then just kept on retreating, shrinking so far and so fast that those keeping watch were amazed.
It's stunning. It's, I had no expectation of seeing this rapid a reduction in sea ice, frankly, for the next 10 years. There is no hint of this in the climate models for decades to come, and it happened in this last summer.
One effect is to create a new flashpoint here in the high Arctic. Because who controls the Northwest Passage? The United States and other countries say they have the right to use it. But Canada says it's in charge, and it's building up forces here to back that up.
We're pretty confident that they're Canadian territorial waters and that we should be regulating and asserting our control over them as we would any other part of our territorial water.
How important is it to you to assert that sovereignty?
Well, it's critical. It's part of our history. Like any country, it's important to assert your control over your country and its territorial waters.
So in these disputed waters, Canada is flying its flag. This is the Coast Guard icebreaker, the Amundsen. It's our first sight of the ship that'll carry us through the heart of the Arctic. We're joining an expedition significant for science and for geopolitics. This is a research mission, but it's also about Canada staking its claim to be the key power in these waters. On board, there's a clear sense of purpose. These are sensitive times in a very sensitive part of the world. Let me give you your bearings. This is northern Canada, Greenland, Iceland, the Atlantic, up there Siberia, and beyond off the map, the Pacific. The goal to get somehow right through here. Now, 100 years ago, Roald Amundsen, the Norwegian, did actually make it through, the very first person to do so by ship. This was his route. And now on the ship bearing his name, we're about to do almost the same in reverse. His journey took 4 years. Ours should take about a week. Right away, we encounter ice. In fact, the researchers are actively looking for it, and we soon find exactly what they're after. whole vessel shakes. This ice is old and tough. Ironically, it's the record warming this summer that's dislodged it and caused it to drift our way. For the scientists, this is a great opportunity. They want to study the ice close up. A helicopter is the best way to get them there. It's only a short flight. The researchers choose a chunk of ice thick enough to land on. If the Northwest Passage is ever to be truly open to shipping, ice like this needs to be monitored. We find ourselves in an eerie landscape, the ice sculpted into strange shapes. And for several hours, we're the only people in this alien world. The scientists drill into the ice. They reach the sea 5 meters down. What they want to know is how long the ice will last and where it'll go. A satellite tracking device will record the movement of the ice. It has to be chained in place. Believe it or not, there's a risk that polar bears may try to shift it.
We need hard data, like to actually find out like what it is that we are dealing with here within the Arctic. Like we need to know how much melt there is, what kind of motion there is.
Now, while the scientists are doing their work and struggling with that drill, we've just stepped away to come towards the edge of the iceberg. You can see the sea just in the distance there. We're only 100 yards or so from the edge, but I'm told perfectly safe. Just down here, in the summertime, this ice would have melted to form a pool. It's now refrozen now that winter's firmly on its way. And if I just go through this drift here, pretty deep, the ice here, I don't know if you can see, it's a very pale blue, which does indicate that it's ice that's been compressed over the years. It's old, heavy, thick ice, and it's a curious thought this, that as we stand here, that it's this very kind of dense ice that actually the early explorers had so much trouble with as they tried to find a way through this Northwest Passage. And sometimes, of course, when I've been reading the history books, they got stuck and had to spend a very long, very painful winter wedged in by exactly this kind of ice.
All the time, the helicopter pilot stands guard. The polar bears that may later damage the scientific instruments are also a danger to us. By Canadian law, he has to be armed and ready. What we don't know as we're filming is that this is a real threat.